Maybe at some point in your life you've sat alone in a quiet room, holding an old photo of your husband or wife and wondered, will our love continue after death? In heaven, will we hold hands again? Or will all of this become nothing more than fading memories? That's not a small question. It strikes right at the core of the human heart, especially for those who have shared a long marriage. Waking up together, sharing simple meals, walking through sunshine and storms alike. When you've been joined to someone so deeply that your soul and heartbeat seem to move as one, it's almost impossible to imagine that it could all end with a final breath. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, Jesus was asked a tricky question. If a woman had been married to 7 brothers, whose wife would she be in the resurrection? It wasn't an honest search for truth. It was a trap. And Jesus answered in a way that still confuses many today. In the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. At first glance, that answer feels like a door slammed shut. For many couples, especially those who have spent decades together, it leaves behind a painful thought. So marriage really ends? Does that mean we'll be strangers in eternity? But don't stop there. As someone who has taught and preached on this subject for years in churches and small groups across the U.S., I can tell you, Jesus' words are not a dismissal of love. They are an invitation to see love in a far greater way than we can right now. Let me share a story. I once met an elderly gentleman in Texas who had been married for 52 years. When his wife died of cancer, he said it felt like half his heart had been torn away. With tears in his eyes, he asked me, "Pastor, will I see her again in heaven? Or is it really all over?" I didn't give him a long theological lecture. I told him about a river. A river flows through valleys and fields, carving its path with stones and bends, until one day it reaches the sea. And when it joins the ocean, the river doesn't disappear. It becomes part of something vast and endless. His love, their love, would not vanish. It would be lifted up, made part of the boundless love of God. He sat silently for a while, then nodded. Tears still rolled down, but there was peace in his face. You see, Jesus wasn't saying marriage has no meaning. He was showing us that marriage here on earth is only a glimpse, a sacred shadow, of a love so much greater in the life to come. On earth, marriage is where we learn to love, to sacrifice, to forgive. It's like a spiritual classroom. But in heaven, we finally graduate. We step into perfect love, free of jealousy, free of fear, free of the limits that hold us back now. When Jesus said that in heaven we will be like the angels, he wasn't dismissing the bonds and memories we've built through a lifetime of love. He was inviting us to see that heaven isn't just an extension of this life. It's something entirely new, where everything good here is brought to its fullness. Think of a seed. On the outside it looks small, dry and fragile, but inside, there's the power of a whole tree, even a forest. Your marriage is like that seed. On earth, it may sometimes feel weathered, battered by storms, even cracked by arguments or jealousy. Yet hidden inside is a greater promise. When that seed is planted in the soil, when life as we know it ends, it doesn't mean the seed is gone. It grows into something larger, stronger, more beautiful than we could ever imagine. That's what our love becomes in God's hands, perfected, eternal. I remember a widow I knew in Ohio. Every morning, 10 years after her husband had passed, she would still set 2 cups of coffee on the table. One for her, one for him. When I asked her why, she smiled softly and said, "Because one day, we'll sit down together again. Only next time, there will be no sickness, no sorrow." For her, love had not ended. It was simply waiting for its resurrection. Even science whispers something similar. Researchers at Harvard have found that couples who've been together for decades actually develop biological synchrony. Their heartbeats, breathing patterns, even brain responses can align over time. That tells us love isn't just an emotion, it leaves a mark in the body and the brain. If that's true in this fragile earthly life, imagine what it means in eternity, when everything broken is restored and completed in God. But let's be honest, many people still worry. If there's no marriage in heaven, will I lose my spouse? will they no longer matter to me? The answer is no. You will not become strangers. In fact, you'll know and love each other more deeply than ever before. Because love in heaven is not possessive. It isn't bound by jealousy or fear. You won't have to cling and say, "You're mine." In heaven, love is so full and abundant, it never runs dry. Picture a river flowing to the ocean. A river is beautiful, powerful, but it has banks, it has limits. When it meets the sea, it doesn't vanish. It becomes part of the vast, endless waters. Your marriage is the river. Heaven is the ocean. And when your love flows into God's ocean of love, it isn't lost. It's expanded beyond measure. I've heard widows and widowers say to me, "Pastor, I'm afraid that in heaven I'll see my spouse and won't even know them anymore." I've always answered, "No, you'll know them better than you ever did. You'll love them in a way that's freer, fuller, without the shadow of fear. Your bond won't be erased. It will be perfected." And what about those who are single? Many wonder, does that mean I'm missing something eternal? Not at all. In heaven, no one is incomplete. Married or single, we all will be embraced in the same perfect love. Marriage here is just one signpost pointing toward that ultimate love. Singleness can be another signpost too, showing total devotion to God. Either way, the destination is the same: eternal communion with Him. So think of marriage on earth as a road sign, not the final destination. Every sacrifice, every act of patience, every moment of forgiveness you've shared, it's all a seed planted. And in eternity, you'll see that seed blossom into a great forest, more beautiful than anything you could imagine now.
My friend, after everything we've reflected on today, I want you to carry this truth in your heart. Love does not end at the grave. It doesn't vanish like a candle blown out in the dark. Instead, it is lit anew, burning brighter, stronger, when we step into eternal life with Christ. You may remember the words from 1 Corinthians 13. Love never fails. That's not just a pretty verse to comfort us. It's a promise from the one who spoke galaxies into being, who knows every tear you've cried and every prayer you've whispered in the night. The love you shared with your spouse, your children, your family, it's not wasted. It's being carried forward, refined, and brought to perfection in God's eternal kingdom. I know for many of you, losing a spouse feels like a wound that never heals. I've seen men sit beside their wife's grave and talk to her softly about their day, as if she were still right there. And in a way, she is. That conversation is not over. It's only paused. Because whatever day, he won't be speaking to a gravestone. He'll be face to face with the one he loves, in the light and peace of eternity. If you still have your spouse beside you, cherish it. Don't think of marriage as just who cooks, who pays the bills. See it as a sacred journey. Every smile, every act of patience, every small forgiveness, it's all a seed planted in eternity. Those seeds will bloom one day into something beyond what you can see now. And if you're single, don't think you're missing out. Heaven has no second-class citizens. There won't be rows for the married and rows for the unmarried. All of us will be complete in the same eternal love. Marriage here on earth is only a shadow, a sign. The destination is the same for us all, the fullness of God's love. So no, heaven is not about losing what mattered most to us here. It's about completion. We won't become strangers to one another. We'll be bound together more deeply than ever, with a love that never ends, never grows jealous, never fears. A love that is finally whole. If you are listening today, and your heart aches with longing for someone you've lost, I pray you will let this hope lift you up. Separation is only temporary. Reunion is promised. And while we wait, we can live fully in the love we still have today, knowing every moment is part of something eternal. Think of your life as a journey. We stumble, we tire, but every step is leading somewhere. And at the end of that road, there's no more pain, no more goodbyes, only love forever. Before we close, let me ask you something simple. If this message has touched your heart, would you hit subscribe? Share it with someone who might need comfort. And in the comments below, tell me, what is your greatest hope about heaven? I would love to read your thoughts. And who knows, your words might bring peace to someone else. Because here's the truth. The story of love does not end with death. It continues, it grows, and it is perfected in eternity. And when that day comes, there will be no need for vows or promises anymore, because love itself will be our eternal reality. God bless you.